When I was growing up, I would walk to school and home every single day. From when I was in kindergarten till 6th grade, and then also through middle school, everything, I walked to school every morning. And the way to get there from our house was pretty simple, but it was about a mile away. And there were two different paths that I could take every single day that I knew would get me to school, but there were different consequences and benefits to each path. So sometimes I'd take the safer route, which was more like an L shape, where you'd have my house here, the school's up here, and I had to go up about 14 cul-de-sacs and then walk another half mile up to get to the school. That was the longer way, but there was a sidewalk all the way through. So it was safer, it was clean, it was easy, it was fast-ish, but not the fastest way. Now, as you can imagine, right in between in this area here would be the park. So sometimes I would decide to just cut across like a horizontal shortcut. And I would do that probably half the time. I'd say 50% of the time I'd take a shortcut. The other 50% I'd be a little more patient and I'd go the safer way. But of course, what happened when I took the shortcut was that in the morning, the lawns were getting watered in the park. So I'd slip, or I'd get my clothes all wet, I'd get dirty, and then on the way home, everything would be dried up, but I'd be walking home with friends, and maybe we'd play in the park for a little bit before going home, and I'd get dirty, right? So I would take a shortcut, more maybe impressive, fun kind of a path that got me there faster, but it sometimes got me really dirty or got me wet. And that sometimes even made me later than if I'd taken the longer route. Whereas I've taken the other path as well, and it really took a long time. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make with this story is that the destination doesn't move. The destination is in the exact same place. I started here, the destination's here. In both circumstances, neither of those things changed at all. But I had a decision to make. And you can argue that there's not really a correct decision to make in that scenario. It's just inconsequential. Somehow, there are pros, there are cons, but ultimately it doesn't matter, right? But so often in life, we see these diverging paths, we see these two different ways of going about things, and we really think, oh my gosh, if I don't do it this way, I'm gonna die, it's not gonna go well. It's not justifiable, but in our minds we think that the destination is somehow going to move, but it's not. Now, if you want to be a dentist, there are maybe a couple paths that you could take. You could zoom through school, straight A student, get a scholarship, straight A through dental school, become a dentist. But you could also go through and get a degree in business management and end up working for a corporation for 10 years before you decide, I want to be a dentist. And you know what? That's very non-traditional, and that would take a long time to do. But it doesn't mean that that path is worse. In fact, it could be better for certain people, right? So there are different paths, but let's not worry so much about the path. Let's worry about how the destination is what's really important. The important thing was that I got to school safely. I could accomplish both, either path I took, right? Let's focus on the destination. Let's focus on the end goal and enjoy the process, but just make a decision. Don't worry so much about every little step along the way, because it's ultimately going to lead to where you want to be if you go in the right direction. That's my 2 cents for you today. I hope that was helpful.